Good luck scoring a goal on the Minnesota Wild as they blank the Calgary Flames to pick up some huge points and put the Flames into desperation mode. We talk about the shutout win plus a couple of goals, droughts that have been broken on today's Locked On Wild Postcast.
You are Locked On Wild Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, your team every day.
Minnesota Wild blank the Calgary Flames 3-0 to move their point streak to 9 straight games. Welcome into tonight's Locked On Wild Postcast. Seth Topal with you as honestly a pretty impressive win for the Minnesota Wild. And you see Matt Boldy get his first goal in 15 games. Marcus Foligno snaps his goals drought. Kirill Kaprizov did not factor in the scoring in this one, but a lot of Bill Guerin's trade acquisitions did, as the Wild pick up a very impressive win in this one today. And I've got a couple of numbers for you to start for tonight, courtesy of Michael Russo. Since November 19th, Filip Gustavsson is 16-4-2 with a .942 save percentage, picks up his second shutout, 31 out of 31. With the Minnesota Wild. Masterful defensive performance by the Wild. Didn't have to do much, did Gustavsson in the first two periods, but did have a couple of key saves in the third to keep things scoreless. And as Joe Smith mentions, the Wild beating the Flames 3-0 and handing them a crushing defeat. The Wild are 3 points out of first place. They now have a point in 9 straight games, 9-1-2 in their last 12 games. They've allowed 7 goals in their last 7 games, also getting those slump-busting goals from Boldy and Foligno. And they were booing hard in Calgary tonight at the end of this game. A Calgary team that is just, they're desperate for wins. They're desperate for points. And I think the biggest thing that I noticed in this game tonight that was just so impressive was the work that this defense continues to do. The Flames did end up getting 31 shots, but good luck getting anything real close to the net in terms of a shot. A lot of them came from further out in the zone, while defense got to a ton of others with blocked shots and just getting sticks in the lane to prevent the puck from getting to Filip Gustavsson. And it's a team that is just... they're going to be a real pain to play against because they do not give you really any room to operate when you get into the offensive zone. They're on top of you super quickly, and coupling that with the work of either Filip Gustavsson or Marc-Andre Fleury, it just ends up being a nightmare to against the Wild roster. John Klingberg into the mid-year. I thought Klingberg's game was pretty good. He is a fluid skater. He played just a nice, crisp game in this one. I'm not going to get super concerned about the power play here for the next couple of years. Obviously, working him into the mix, there's going to be some growing pains and a need to just allow those guys to gel, to get some chemistry and comfort. But I mean, he just looked right at home with this team. Ironically enough, one of the big concern areas for him coming in was his plus minus. And he ends up +3 for the Wild in his first game. So all in all, just a lot to really be excited about that we saw with this team. I think a big one as well was Marcus Johansson, who has provided the speed that was really missing from the Matt Boldy, Eriksson Ek pairing. And you look at what he was able to do to single-handedly assist in getting Matt Boldy that goal down the stretch. a big goal for Matt Boldy, who had not scored in 15 straight games. Remember that goal as we move throughout the rest of the season, because honestly, I think just getting one for Boldy is going to do wonders in getting his confidence back and getting him on track with those two guys on his line. So far, the two guys that we've seen, and the plan was for Oskar Sundqvist to play, but it sounded like he had travel issues getting from Detroit to Alberta. So then you insert Sam Steele, and Sam Steele has one of his best games of the season as a guy who obviously wants to play and does not want to head back to the bench. So it just collectively all the way up to the top and all the way down to the bottom, just a really solid game that the Wild played in this one to just absolutely suffocate the Calgary Flames. And now the Wild 3 points out, 3 points behind Dallas. They are 3 points up on the Winnipeg Jets for third in the division. Colorado falls into a wild card spot. It was a team that, we going into the trade deadline wanted to see, I think, a bigger swing for that second line spot, but it's hard to argue with what we saw from those additions and what we will see from the guys that have yet to play that Bill Guerin also added at the deadline. It's shaping up to be a team that is going to ride their defense, ride their goaltending, and ride Kirill Kaprizov to however far they get in the postseason. But, really hard to argue with anything that we saw in this one here tonight. So a great showing. The Wilds pick up all 4 points in regulation in the 2 road games. Now they'll host Calgary on Tuesday night, and just continue to roll along here as we move into the month of March. And 9-1-2 in their last 12 games, 9 straight games with at least a point. A lot to like for this Minnesota Wild team at this point. Now, there are a couple of other things I wanted to discuss about not only this game, but just moving forward for this team. And so we will take a look at a few more keys to pull from a 3-0 win for the Minnesota Wild over the Calgary Flames. We'll continue to recap the game with you on tonight's Locked On Wild postcast after a word from our sponsors. Are you looking for a delicious treat but don't want all the fat and calories? Well, Built Bar is here to help. What makes Built Bar so good? Well, for starters, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, 100% real chocolate. They also come in some unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I don't know how Built Bar continues to do it, but these are some of the healthiest snacks you can find. They contain just 130 calories and only 4 grams of sugar, while also packing a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait to grab a box. You can head to your local Walmart or Sam's Club to grab yourself a box of Built Bars today. If you don't have one close, just head to Built.com and order yourself a box of delicious Built Bars today. No matter how the last game went, anytime you take the field, you've got a shot with greatness. Give your team the best shot at winning by recruiting more MVPs with Indeed. If you're hiring, you need Indeed, because Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applications that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer valid through March 31st. Go to Indeed.com/lockedon to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Continuing tonight's Locked On Wild postcast, Minnesota Wild pick up a 3-0 win over the Calgary Flames and really put some pressure on Calgary here as the season rolls along. And it's a little crazy to think that the Nashville Predators, who were pretty clear sellers at the trade deadline, have now vaulted above the Flames in the playoff standings. Dicey times for the Calgary Flames. It is interesting that you see what this Wild team continues to do, and I'm changing my tune considerably to the additions that we saw at the trade deadline. I think John Klingberg might be the biggest one of all of them. You saw what he was able to do. He was near the top of the line in terms of minutes for defensemen tonight. And when that power play gets him gelled and integrated, he can not only help there, but man, he was good just all around in this one this evening. Just a nice fluid skater, very calm out there. And he looks like a guy that is going to get some juice from going from just the disaster that the Anaheim Ducks are to a team that is playing for the postseason in the Minnesota Wild. It seemed to really give him some jump. And interesting as well, Marcus Foligno getting a goal, a little puck luck with that goal as well. But I think it's pretty evident that Foligno has been battling some things over the last handful of games, which is why his production started to drop. But you look at that line with him, Sam Steele, and Freddie Gaudreau. Now, Oscar Sundqvist will probably slide in on that line when he joins the team, which I would imagine will be for Tuesday's game. And you look at this bottom six really starting to have some solid options for how to mix and match lines to keep everybody fresh. But those bottom two lines are not going to be fun to play against as the season rolls on, because you've got guys like Ryan Reeves, who's big and physical. You now have Marcus Foligno down there. Sundqvist, from what I have been told, is a guy that is not afraid to mix it up either. You've got Brandon Duhaime, you've got Mason Shaw, you've got Connor Dewar. You have a ton of options, and then you throw Sam Steele into that mix. You've got a lot of guys that are going to really be fighting for playing time down the stretch of these final 19 games. But this team just has a different look to it. Like, they understand the situation that they're in. Obviously, we all would like to see more goals, to see more scoring, to make these games a little less nerve-wracking and nail-biting. But look at it tonight. Even in the instances in which Calgary was able to get traffic to the net, you got Filip Gustavsson making the initial save, and then there are 3 or 4 sticks defensively, not only defensemen, but forwards too, that are in the perfect position to grab the puck and get the puck away from the front of the net. And if this team continues to do this and continues to just stymie the opponents defensively, it doesn't matter how many goals you score. If you score 2 goals, 1 goal would have won the game tonight. 1 or 2 goals, if they continue to play and get this type of goaltending, this is what it takes to win in the postseason. Solid special teams, good defense, and great goaltending. And you're getting it on a nightly basis. I was talking with a couple of people on Twitter, and the Wild have been playing a playoff type hockey for, well, over a month in terms of the results, but they've been playing this style pretty much all season. And it's starting to look like a team that is building off of that and going from a team that simply struggles to score goals to a team that is going to stymie the opponent and is going to do enough to win. And so, real impressed with what we saw in this game tonight. The Flames will head to the Xcel Energy Center on Tuesday night. The Wild will be rested. The Flames will be coming off of a back-to-back. They play the Dallas Stars on Monday night, which is going to be a mess of a game, you'd think, unless Dallas suffers a slip-up, in which I'm perfectly fine with that. So, a real chance the Wild may not have put the nail in the coffin of the Flames yet, but they closed the lid, at least for right now. It hasn't been nailed shut yet, but it's going to be tough sledding for the Flames. Just glad that the Wild are not in that spot here at this point in the season. So a solid win for the Wild, 3-0 over the Calgary Flames. That will do it for tonight's Locked On Wild postcast. Make sure to join us on Monday as we will have a full recap of the trade deadline, of course, with Alex Micheletti for our Micheletti Monday. And we're going to take a look this week as well at Kirill Kaprizov's pursuit of 50 goals. So make sure to check that out, as well as all of our other content at Locked On Wild. Make sure to follow along and subscribe, whether it be on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platforms, so you don't miss out on anything that we have up our sleeves for the Wild's playoff push the rest of the way. You can find all of our content and new episodes every Monday through Friday as part of the Locked On Sports Podcast Network.